In just 3 weeks, there's been everything. Forbidden kisses, betrayals in the dark, and even a plan for a rushed wedding. This isn't love. It's pure televised morbid curiosity. The story begins like any cheap soap opera disguised as a reality show, with a love triangle that isn't a triangle at all, but a badly drawn square, full of crooked lines and confused people. Jenifer at the center, Rob in one corner, Cole in the other, and an entire audience wondering if she'll ever make up her mind, or if she'll keep spinning the wheel of love like casino chips. Cole presents himself as the sensitive knight, the guy who promises space, freedom, respect. But the moment he sees her talking to someone else, the mask slips and his true face comes out. Controlling, anxious, jealous. He's like those commercials that sell you natural water, but when you taste it, it's full of chemicals. He says he won't pressure her, and a minute later he demands, "You're mine, not his." Secondhand romance at best. Rob, on the other hand, is trapped between being the calm guy who values his space and the ex-husband carrying a past he can't bury. Cole takes advantage of that and throws a low blow. He brings up Sophie, the ex. A dirty move, especially since he doesn't even know her. But in this circus, anything goes if it means making your rival look bad. What Cole didn't expect is that exposing someone else's wound sometimes reveals more about you than your enemy. And yes, the smug grin on his face while doing it wasn't friendly. It was pure villain energy, like someone who finally found the crack in his opponent's armor. Jenifer, for her part, pretends to be shocked. She says she doesn't want controlling men, that her past was full of them, that she won't go through it again. But every time Cole tightens the leash, she gives in a little more. Pure contradiction. Her speech says, "I want independence," but her body, her gestures, her silences tell another story. It's not that she doesn't see the red flags, it's that she chooses to ignore them because she enjoys the drama. And in these shows, what would a woman be without drama? Nothing. So she feeds it, breathes it, lives it. The breaking point comes when Cole, in a burst of emotion and need for control, drops the bomb. "We could look into the K1 Fiance visa so you can come to the US. Excuse me, what? They've barely spent weeks fighting, flirting, and throwing jealous looks, and he's already talking immigration paperwork. That's not a love proposal, it's an administrative process disguised as romance. The audience is shocked, but not Jenifer. She smiles, flirts with the idea, as if talking about a rushed marriage were as casual as ordering another drink at the hotel bar. And that's where it all starts to smell more like a script than reality. Meanwhile, Rob makes one last effort. He sits down with Jen, talks about clarity, about the future, about not leaving doubts behind. But she pulls out the May card, the friend who saw her leaving Rob's room. And just like that, what little was left collapses. Rob insists nothing happened, that they were just playing dominoes, that there was no betrayal. But Jen didn't ask, didn't want to confirm, she just ran back into Cole's arms. And that, even if Rob was innocent, says more about her lack of interest than his supposed guilt. Because when you really care, you ask before you run. But Jen didn't want answers. She wanted excuses to justify changing sides. The double standard is ridiculous. Jen has the right to test, kiss, and sleep with whoever she wants. But if Rob even talks to another woman, that's betrayal. Hypocrisy disguised as seeking clarity. It's obvious she enjoys having two men fighting over her like gladiators in an arena, while she sits in the royal box sipping wine and deciding who gets her rose at the end of the night. As the clock ticks down, the show heads toward its grand finale. Last days at the resort, last chance for Jen to choose her favorite gladiator. They all head out on a yacht, like good soap opera characters, music, sun, drinks, and of course, a new spark for drama. Enter Elise, because there's always a secondary character who can't stand being off camera. She spots something, makes her move. She's wearing the bracelet I gave Rob. Really? A whole episode centered around an accessory. But that's how these shows work. Any trinket can be dynamite if you spin it right. Elise demands her bracelet back. Jen responds calmly, too calmly, almost rehearsed. She gives it back without a scene, but the seed of doubt is already planted. Cole pretends not to care, though in his head the question lingers. What else doesn't he know? The irony is, he still hasn't realized the most obvious thing, that Rob and Jen have already been intimate. She lied straight to his face, and he chose to believe her because the alternative was admitting his stable relationship is built on lies. So he closes his eyes, smiles, and keeps talking about the future. For Cole, that future means visiting Jen in Colombia, bringing her to California, marrying her if he has to. He lives in the delusion that 3 weeks of confusion and stolen kisses equals a lifetime. Rob, on the other hand, knows he's lost. He looks at her, accepts defeat with forced dignity, and delivers the classic line of a romantic loser. At least now I know that after my divorce I can connect with someone again. Translation: I got used, I got played, I got humiliated on national television, but hey, I survived. Finally, the moment arrives, the big decision. Jen, with her I've thought this through face, says the inevitable. I need stability, and Cole is the one. No one is surprised. She chooses the controlling, possessive, intense man because sometimes the promise of security weighs more than desire. Cole beams, thinking he's won a kingdom, when in reality, all he got was the leading role in a doomed relationship. But in television, it doesn't matter if it lasts, it only matters if it gets ratings. Rob, crushed, watches as the others celebrate. Cole even gifts Jen another bracelet, just to rub in what Rob couldn't give her. And she, instead of feeling manipulated, takes it happily ready to flaunt it in Elise's face. The show closes with them dancing, smiling, living a fantasy that won't survive the real world. Rob stands aside, the ghost of what could have been. And that's how this chapter of televised love's tragicomedy ends, with absurd promises of rushed marriage, with bracelets turned into war trophies, with hidden tears and fake smiles. But above all, with the certainty that this love triangle was nothing more than a badly written play where everyone knew their lines, but no one dared admit it. Because in the end, the only real thing wasn't the love, the connection, or the promises of the future. It was the drama. And in a reality show, drama is the only thing that ever matters. If you've made it this far, you clearly crave the chaos as much as we do. So don't miss a single twist. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and buckle up for more drama, deception, and deliciously disastrous decisions. Because in this show, the only thing more unpredictable than love is what happens next.